considering that all ponies have a counterpart in this world, you must be pregnant as well. Well, congratulations, Shining. Wait, you didn't know? Wait, are you even married in this world? How old are you two anyway? Kaden seems to be at least 10 years older. No comment? Interesting. Wonder what human Twilight will say to this. Bye!
And here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. Jesus loves you more than you will know. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, that was a fun episode, and after last week's game-changing events, probably the best possible follow-up. Let me explain. Crusaders of the Lost Mark was an excellent episode and lots of things happened there. This makes this episode highly entertaining, but somewhat hard to digest. People still talk about this episode today and probably will until the next season final. In comparison, the one where Pinkie Pie knows is almost forgettable. The only noteworthy thing that happens are the news about Caden's pregnancy. But it's neither a big twist as the audience learns about it at the very beginning, nor a big change to the series. It's more like an announcement that there will be a change sometime in the future. If you consider that roughly a year passed in season 2 by this point, make it another 2 seasons before this is brought up again. This however makes it a perfect briefer episode. It's a lot of harmless fun with nothing at stakes, and his light-hearted tone gives quite the relief after the serious Crusaders of the Lost Mark, so we can better digest the events of that episode. Pinkie Pie trying to keep the whole baby thing a secret while the entire universe apparently works against her is hilarious, and that's basically the entire episode. Unless of course you consider that she has a hallucination at one point that is quite reminiscent of a discording process back in season 2, which was probably her darkest moment as Discord basically broke her whole spirit and beliefs. Yikes, maybe it's more serious than I thought. Other than that, this whole episode felt like karmic retribution for green isn't your color. You remember that episode where Twilight could have solved the whole conflict within 5 minutes if it weren't for Pinkie Pie's tendencies? Classic. I'm almost in the mood to review that one as well, and the callbacks to this episode are quite obvious.
The pony who ruins a surprise for some pony else has to live with that guilt forever.
The main difference is that the burden to keep it secret was a subplot back then, and the secret would have been able to solve the conflict. Here it is the main focus, and the conflict is that it stays hidden. It is also worth noting that Twilight and Co. actually try to follow the lesson they learned in Green Isn't Your Color, as they try to talk with Pinkie Pie about her supposed problem, not realizing that they only make things worse for her.
Dear Princess Celestia, being a good friend means being able to keep a secret, but you should never be afraid to share your true feelings with a good friend. Pinkie Pie, do you have something you need to say? You seem like you've been keeping something in.
We're here to listen.
Well, go on then, Sugar Cube.
We're not going to judge you, darling.
You'll feel so much better once you get it off your chest.
Come on. Whatever it is, you can tell us. We're best friends.
Actually a clever twist to an established lesson. Not only that, the whole episode is stuffed with small continuity notes. The concept of Pinkie Pie promises, Featherwake's involvement with the school paper, Pinkie Pie's filing system, and Applejack's embarrassments about baby pictures of herself, just to name a few. And while its status as canon is up to debate, Shining Armor's portrayal as a dog in this episode does remind me of his portrayal in the comic issue numbered 11 and 12. Really funny issues I want to add, and speaking of comics...
And check out all these old comic books.
Be careful, they're mint in bag.
This cover seems familiar. Why do I recognize the stuff? Everything that happens in this episode perfectly aligns with things that were already established in previous episodes. While they are mostly unimportant, they show that someone cared about small details, not to mention that most continuity nods in the series tend to be a little bit more direct. Along the line of, remember that one time? In this episode, the nods are more subtle. A fan will recognize them, while others don't need them to understand the episode. The one thing that disappointed me a little bit about this episode is the limited screen time of Shining Armor and Cadence. I read the synopsis and expected those two to be more involved. Well, and that's the reason why people like to avoid spoilers of any kind, as they set wrong expectations. At least Shining got enough time to be adorable. So, let's wrap things up. This episode was entertaining. I smiled the whole way through. but I don't see this episode appearing in any top 10 list. I think it was funny, but it has hardly a lasting impact. Sure, there will be a fourth someday, but it won't affect the show for a long time. I guess it's overall slightly above average. Well, that being said, I look forward to more episodes by G.M. Barrow. The numerous subtle allusions to previous unconnected episodes show that she knows her stuff. I believe she could write an exceptional episode if given the chance. But what about you? Did you like this episode? Anything that bothered you? What do you think about Caden's pregnancy? Let me know in the comments. I am Tricky Fox. Thanks for watching. And if you don't mind, like and subscribe.